from some of the top doctors right here in India. I'm joined tonight by Dr. Chandrakant Laharia, epidemiologist and public health systems expert, Dr. Prateek Samdani, critical care physician at the Breach Candy Hospital in Mumbai, Dr. Rajeev Jayadevan, scientific advisor to the Indian Medical Association, and Professor J.A. Jayalal, National President of the Indian Medical Association. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Dr. Jayadevan, if I could come to you, Dr. Laharia is of the opinion that perhaps we're panicking too much and Delta Plus is not too different from the Delta variant. But I think the reason why people are worried is because most believe that it's the Delta variant that was responsible for the widespread devastation that the second wave of the COVID pandemic caused in India. And at that time, most of us were not even aware of it. We learned of this variant after the event, which is why people are now worried that we have a new variant to deal with. Some are even asking, could this trigger India's third wave? Your take, sir.
Well, at this point, we know that over the past year and a half, having observed the virus, mutations continue to happen. And the virus, like most living organisms, is smart enough to figure out its own environment. So it is creating mutations that will help itself adapt to the human host. And that's really the big picture here. And among all the mutations that have been produced, there's a handful that keep occurring among all the variants. Now, that is what is called convergent evolution. Basically, it means that all around the world, wherever the virus is, it decides to throw in this mutation or that, which helps it move faster between hosts and perhaps evade immunity. Now, the variant that was originally discovered in India called B1617 and 6172, now called the Delta variant, that's taken over the whole world. That's a given compared to the 614G variant that took over the world last year. And B117, that is the UK or the Alpha variant that took over the world around December. Now it's a turn of this Delta variant. The question is a Delta Plus or so-called Delta Plus variant is a variant of concern? Yes, definitely all these are variants of concern. But as Dr. Laharia said, this particular one has an additional mutation on it, K417N, which is basically seen in other variants as well. So as I said, the virus has a fixed set of tricks, it appears to be, and it keeps producing one trick after the other to adapt. If you ask me, do I think that this new Delta 1 is going to take over the world? I don't think so. Why? Sheer numbers. Because if you look at statistics across the world, right now it's a turn of the Delta variant. There's no doubt this is the most transmissible variant ever produced on record by this virus.
Yes.
So Delta variant definitely, yes, is a matter of great concern.
Yes, but you know what we cannot forget is that the Delta variant was first found in India, and like you said, now it's taken over the world. And I guess that is why people are worried about this new variant that has been detected in India. Dr. Jayadevan, are you concerned, sir, about some of the breakthrough infections that have been seen? You know, for example, many doctors who unfortunately recently lost their lives also were fully vaccinated. Now, I'm not trying to suggest that vaccines aren't working. What's your view?
Yeah, I'll take the first part of your question first. It's about breakthrough infections. For our viewers, breakthrough infection essentially means an infection that occurs in a person who has been fully vaccinated, who has really received 2 doses of vaccination. Now, there are hundreds of thousands of infections and deaths that have been prevented or stopped without our knowledge due to vaccination. We don't hear about them. But the 1 or 2 people who pass away, unfortunately, in spite of receiving the vaccine, we discuss about them incessantly on social media. So it's like we discuss plane crashes, but we don't discuss plane taking off and landing safely. My point here is vaccination does not protect 100%. There's no vaccine that ever gives 100% protection for anything. There are always exceptions to the rule for many reasons. Firstly, if you have multiple other diseases, particularly those that affect your immune system one way or the other, or if you are on the older age group, the chance of such an event happening is higher. So some of these deaths have been attributed to that. But I want to emphasize that the number of deaths that have been prevented by the vaccine is so much that the point of discussing these deaths is really not much. But from the published data in India, I can assure you that from Vellore, from Delhi, and from Trivandrum, we have data that among people who have been vaccinated, there's a 92+ percentage reduction in severe disease.
Yes.
Severe disease. I repeat, severe disease. That is
Yes.
the people who require oxygen and higher. So that is proof that these vaccines work. So there is no need to be concerned excessively about these breakthrough infections.
Okay.
Now, mild infections do occur, especially for healthcare workers who work in high-intensity settings. Yes, definitely, if you're surrounded by virus 24 hours a day in your workplace, in a closed space, definitely you could pick up infections. And that is one of the concerns with variants because, as I said earlier, variants really cause a concern more about infection rather than severity. There's a difference between whether you get infected or whether you die. Both are separate entities. Science sees them as separate entities. All vaccines prevent severe disease and death.
Okay.
But when variants arrive, the first part, that is people who get infected, the number may get a little bit higher.
Yes. You know, I do agree with Dr. Jayadevan and Dr. Laharia there that the most important purpose of vaccination is not so much to prevent the onset of the infection itself as to prevent severity of disease and mortality. I'd like to thank Dr. Laharia, Dr. Jayalal, Dr. Prateek Samdani and Dr. Rajeev Jayadevan for joining us on the show and sharing their perspective with us. And thanks very much to the viewers for watching.